Today we're going to be looking at why judge orders both parties from the XRP lawsuit, and how Switzerland-based exchange has made a decision to relist XRP. Subscribe and turn on the notifications to stay updated on this area. Let's get into it. Welcome to Moneyside. In a fresh twist to the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC's) fight against Ripple Labs, U.S. Judge Sarah Netburn has directed both parties to hold a telephonic discovery conference on Tuesday, April 6, 2021. The judge's order directs the parties to discuss a motion to compel filed by Ripple's lawyers. On March 15th, lawyers representing current Ripple Labs CEO Brad Garlinghouse and Christian Larson had asked Judge Netburn to compel the SEC to produce documents relating to the regulator's lawsuit against the fintech firm. In their motion, Ripple's lawyers argued that seeking this court order had been necessitated by the regulator's refusal to produce the requested documents. Specifically, the lawyers allege that the SEC had failed to provide a single document concerning Bitcoin or Ether, two virtual currencies that are closely analogous to XRP. Furthermore, in their motion, the lawyers also allege that the SEC is failing to produce internal documentation that relates to XRP's legal status. The lawyers are also seeking any documents from the 10 of the 19 custodians the defendants proposed. Meanwhile, following the judge's order, some supporters of Ripple on Twitter praised the judge's decision, which they believe will help the fintech firm's case. For instance, a Twitter user known as Kingslayer wrote, "This would be a huge step, as finally the internal comms of the SEC news will be revealed. April 6th will be a day to look forward to. A lot of clarity might come out." Another user, CNF, asks, "Am I the only one getting the feeling that both Ripple and the SEC have a pretty good idea of how damning those documents will be? 8+ years of infinite numbers of positions, guidance, and advice spread by multiple parties with no coherent regulatory policy." In the meantime, the order also asks members of the public interested in listening to the discovery conference to dial in to a number that will be circulated to the parties before the conference. Is Ripple an option for CBDCs? It is unclear if Ripple is addressing central banks with its white paper as a way to put pressure on the ongoing legal battle with the SEC. Either way, central banks may also hesitate to work with Ripple at this particular time. Ripple has recently released a white paper pitching the XRP ledger as an intermediary to connect different central bank digital currencies. The future of CBDCs touts XRP as a neutral bridge that provides intermediation between different currencies in an efficient way. The firm, led by Brad Garlinghouse, claims that if the CBDCs interacted with each other, commercial companies could do international business more easily. Cross-border payments with CBDCs are receiving little attention from central banks, the firm stated, adding it is a short-sighted stance as interoperable CBDCs would bring nations a competitive advantage. Supporting immediate real-time foreign exchanges, as opposed to the current 3 to 5 day process, will likely still require the need for pre-funded currency accounts, Ripple states in the white paper. More so if they lose the case and the firm becomes overwhelmed with private legal claims. Too much uncertainty to deal with while competitors get in line for attention from central banks, including R3s, Corda, Ethereum, Stellar, Dara, and FTPOS. Ripple, though, has already got France's attention, and the European Central Bank is planning to launch the digital euro within the next 5 years. ECB's Panetta has proposed a threshold of €3,000 for every citizen. The creator of the XRP ledger can still get around the legal issues and work with central banks by setting up a separate company or subsidiary. Being open source, the ledger can always be used by any interested party, but without the privacy settings offered in its recently announced CBDC private ledger. First exchange caves into relist XRP movement. Switzerland-based exchange Like has made a decision to relist XRP, a controversial cryptocurrency affiliated with the Ripple blockchain. In his Twitter statement, CEO Richard Olson claims that the token is capable of bridging the gap between blockchain and traditional finance. "We are thrilled to relist XRP. Bridging the gap of traditional finance with the new world of blockchain is our mantra, and XRP is foundational to achieving this goal. It is a milestone that regulation allows us to relist, a big step forward." Like suspended XRP trading and deposits of the tokens on January 18th due to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission's lawsuit against Ripple, following the suit of other major trading platforms like Coinbase and Binance US. The token was originally listed on the exchange back in October 2018. Kraken CEO Jesse Powell opined that XRP posed a huge risk to crypto exchanges. Last week, the belligerent members of the XRP community started the Relist XRP campaign that made it to the top trends in several countries. According to data provided by CoinMarketCap, the 24-hour volume of the XRP Euro pair on Like is only $3,945. Community is hopeful that the Swiss exchange will set the precedent for other exchanges. The bad news is that Like doesn't actually operate in the US, which makes it unclear why they chose to ditch XRP in the first place. Coinbase and other top players are highly unlikely to resume XRP trading until there's clarity regarding XRP's security status, an issue that is at the heart of the complaint. If we look at this daily chart, XRP has had quite some trouble lately, partially due to the SEC classifying XRP as a security, though yesterday came out the news that the SEC is doubtful about its verdict. This might have been a setup or divergence to deliberately keep XRP on the background and setting up some hedge funds and futures to shoot big money in the pool when the time is ripe. Technically, older chart patterns, as Bitcoin itself, with all the older bear trends and bottoming out, it has always done a very elongated inverted H&S. As XRP has touched already 3 times in a row the price level of 0.8 USD and got rejected, I'm quite sure the 4th time will be a go. There is also a comparison with the previous bull run, where the XRP hesitated for a moment and had a revisit to a certain price level as well before shooting up. I cannot guarantee this bull run, but it is technically possible, and I might not be surprised of the surprises Ripple has in for us. By the way, XRP has always been a late bloomer, but when it comes, there is no holding. Many people have lost hope in this coin or are totally against the fundamentals as it is a banking coin. Well, they have literally the most practical use cases and hundreds of contracts. Many Asian banks have been using XRP in test phases and for cheap transfer already. But there might be a next step where institutions might want to hold on those tokens as assets. Also, we know that XRP is XRapid and not XCurrent, which is the coin practically used for banking. But the success of the company is related in its tokens as well. 3 years ago, there's been speculations and predictions of a price point of 7, 10, and even 14 US dollars. Please think about it and trade safely. Please keep in mind, we are not a licensed financial advisor. All videos on this channel are intended for entertainment purposes only. Tell us what you think in the comment section below, and let's have a conversation. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like this video and to click on the subscribe button below. Turn on notifications to get informed whenever we post our amazing content. We'll see you in the next video.